Okay, how's everybody doing? Did you have a good evening yesterday? Okay, good. We're going to continue with our quartz lesson today. Did we make it, let me show you, did we make it to this part yesterday? I don't think we did, right? Where did we stop? I think we stopped here, didn't we? Okay, good. Thank you. All right, so documentation, we'll just cover this quickly. So how has the study of fingerprints progressed over the years? Like, what advancements have we had that help us to study fingerprints in a more advanced way? There's a big one that I'm thinking of. Yes, computers especially, different classification systems, different databases like APHIS. All these have made huge advancements in fingerprinting. Also, looking at document examination, forgery has been around for a very long time. So handwriting analysis is not a new method. Obviously, we have some advancements like computers that can help us analyze handwriting in more detail. But handwriting analysis can be traced all the way back to 1539 AD. And then in 1819, which is still a pretty decent while ago, chemical tests were developed to test the dye and ink used in documents. So we can actually take a sample of paper and run a chemical test on it and tell what type of pen it came from, or match it to a pen that we suspect it may have come from. Or even like a printer, those types of things. We can run a chemical test and compare the types of inks. Pretty cool. All right, we've talked about this story before, but in England in 1784, a man was convicted of murder based on a torn piece of paper found in a pistol. They matched up the torn piece of paper that was used for wadding, and they matched it to a newspaper in the pocket of the suspect. And so this case is one of the first times that this type of physical evidence was used successfully for conviction in a court of law. So it's a different type of document examination, but basically it's a individual piece of evidence where we matched up a piece of a document to a copy of that document. All right, so let's move on to today's lesson. What are the two overall types of evidence? And I know we keep going over this, but somehow it's just not sticking. So what are the two main categories of evidence? There you go. Deja said it. Circumstantial and direct, okay? And what is circumstantial? Somebody other than Deja tell me, because she's been so involved today, and I just want to hear from some of you other people. Let's see. Abdul, Alexander, Brock, Ian, Isaiah, James, Caitlin, Krista, Kyla, Mariana, Michaela, Robert, Savannah. Does anybody have an answer for what is circumstantial evidence and what is direct evidence? Can you give me a definition? Lots of people typing now. Thank you. Direct would be like DNA. Okay, be careful with that. Okay, gotcha. Yes. So let's be more specific. Direct is a very specific type of evidence. It only includes two things. What are those two things? Circumstantial infers, you're right. What are the two things? There you go. A witness or a video. That is the only thing that qualifies as direct evidence, is video and testimony. That's right. So nothing else is direct evidence, only video and testimony, okay? So like security footage and testimony. Circumstantial is literally everything else. So yes, a knife, it infers a conclusion, but it's not actual physical, like video evidence of a crime occurring, okay? So any type of physical evidence is part of our circumstantial evidence category, okay? Questions about that? feel like we still have some confusion about that, so I really want to know if anybody has any questions about that. Okay. All right, so before modern medicine, before modern techniques, in earlier centuries, basically, if they wanted to see if they thought that a suspect was guilty, they would have their accuser talk about their accusations, types of torture in front of the suspect, and then the judge used the reactions in order to determine guilt. So however the suspect reacted was sort of a way that he would be like, oh, well, he looks guilty, so he's definitely guilty. Sometimes physical evidence was considered, like fingerprinting's been around for a while, handwriting analysis has been around for a while, but obviously we didn't have things like DNA evidence or anything like that. So do you guys think this sounds like a fair type of trial? Or do you not have an opinion on that? I mean, I feel like for me, whenever I'm trying to look not guilty is when I look the most guilty of something. I cannot do that. I have no poker face, I can't fake trying to be, and it's, the thing is like, for real, if somebody's like, I think you're telling a lie or whatever, even if you're telling the truth, it's really hard to get your facial features to match. Like, no, I'm actually telling the truth. Like, I'm not lying to you, So, not a very accurate way of determining guilt. All right, in the year 250, which was, quite a while ago, right? A Greek physician discovered that the pulse of his patients increased when they were lying. So this is the first very basic lie detector test. And this only began to be considered useful in solving crimes during the middle of the 20th century, okay? Remember that we don't admit polygraphs as evidence in court, but it can still be used to catch someone in a lie. So if you run a polygraph on somebody, I know, we probably have documentation of it. It's probably written down somewhere. If you determine that someone's telling a lie through a polygraph, it's easier to point to that evidence and say, hey, look, we can tell you're lying here, so what's the actual truth? It's not going to be useful in court necessarily, but we can use it to sort of get the criminal to tell on themselves. All right. Anton von Leeuwenhoek made a very crude, basic microscope in 1670. And then also in 1248, the Chinese book called The Washing Away of Wrongs, written by Song Qi, was the first textbook about autopsy. And we've gone over that before. We talked about that before. I don't think we mentioned about the first microscope, but I bet you've heard about that in biology. So both of these things have been around for a pretty long time. And we've been using them in criminal cases ever since. All right, ethics are a group of principles and obligations that govern a person's or group's behavior. Yeah, we talked about this before in CSI. And along with that, sort of an ethical thing that we follow as a law for our country is that we have the right to a free what? Trial, yes, but remember when they read somebody their Miranda rights, they say, you have the right to remain silent, and then they say, you have the right to an what? Yeah, a lawyer and attorney, okay? So if you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be provided for you. And you can pay for your own lawyer if you want to, because sometimes you can pick one that's going to be a more successful lawyer, a more experienced lawyer, but they will provide you with a free attorney if you need one. And that goes along with our ethics here. That's just something that we believe that people have the right to in order to be represented accurately in court. Okay, so let's talk about IA1. All right. As I told you yesterday, remember that this ended up just being a participation grade. If you IA, you get an automatic 100. And if you did not complete the IA, you just get it all. You don't get a 0, but you don't get the 100 either. You know what? Somebody told me that earlier today. Give me just a second. Let me see if I can fix something. I don't know if it's my mic or if it's Jigsaw, but somebody told me I was having issues with it earlier today, but Jigsaw has been having issues with audio as well. So yeah, just try refreshing if you can't hear me. Okay. Our top 3 missed questions on the IA. Let me get to that data here. Oops. I can't see past my own screen. All right. Top 3 missed questions on the IA. I had it pulled up and it signed out of my page here. Give me just 1 second. Just 1 second. I'm pulling that up. Okay, the questions that we missed the most on the IA. Question number 1 that a lot of people missed: who created the Henry system of classification? And a lot of you answered Henry Fuld, and that's right, but we didn't answer that it was Henry Fuld and Francis Galton, okay? And remember that Francis Galton is the father of fingerprinting, so without him, we wouldn't have been able to develop that system at all. I understand how that was a little bit confusing, but that was one of the most missed questions. Question 2 that we missed a lot. VDoc developed a system that recorded notes of the unusual ways of committing crimes. What were these notes called? And that was the method of operation. We didn't talk about that a whole lot in class, but it was on your study guide. So you would have been able to find that answer there. And then the last one was, what type of crime scene includes walls? Now, the other 2, I can see a little bit why we got those wrong. This one, I'm a little bit disappointed, to be honest with you. Yes, it is an exploded sketch, okay? We've gone over the types of crime scene sketches, so I feel like I did cover this one. It's exploded sketch, all right? I understand how it can oftentimes be confused with overview sketch, but it's an exploded sketch. Exploded like you took a cardboard box and you exploded it. You unfolded it out, and that includes the walls of the crime scene, okay? Yeah, all right. So exploded view is like an unfolded box. It's the one that includes the walls, okay? Any questions about those 3 questions on the IA? Thank you, Andrew. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do now, let me take a look at our time. We have a little bit of time. Okay, a good amount of time. I'm going to pause our recording here. Actually, no, I'm not going to pause the recording yet. I'm going to explain a couple of things. First of all, remember that you need to be checking your crime scene sketches. They are all graded at this point. So you need to check and make sure that you understand your grade. And if you need to resubmit it, you need to do that soon, like by the end of this week, okay? Second thing is that there are still about 10 of you that submitted, but you submitted it in a file format that my computer cannot read. So I made a comment to you. You need to go look that up about your crime scene sketch and fix that, okay? Okay, also, there are guided notes for this lesson in Canvas. So you can use that time to, yeah, Brock, I made a comment on yours. I cannot read your crime scene sketch. It was like really dark and blurry. So I can't see anything on the paper. I'm gonna need you to take a picture and resubmit. For the crime scene sketch, Michaela? I'll take a look at it, but I have graded them all, so I'll take a look at it here in just a minute. There are guided notes for this course lesson. So before you take the quiz, I would recommend using that as a study guide to complete your notes, and then study that before your course quiz. Okay, and then I'm not going to do this just yet, because what I want to do is share with you a Quizlet. Let me get the link for the Quizlet, I think I skipped over that slide. Where did it go? Oh no. I promise you, it was in my lesson earlier today. Hold on just a second. Here it is. Okay. All right, here is a link to a Quizlet that you should also use. Okay, I'll try to work with you on that, Michaela. Here's a Quizlet that you should also use to study before you take this course quiz. So basically, here's the steps. Use your guided notes to study, use the Quizlet to study, and then take your course quiz. After you are done with the court quiz, you can take a minute to look at your crime scene sketch and either, if you're fine with that grade, leave it alone, or if you need to fix something, fix it. You can ask me questions about that, okay? I'm going to pause it at this time. I'm unpausing the recording right now to tell you guys also there is no class on Friday. There will be, the whole staff is having a data day, like where we're working on information. So we just have meetings that day, so there will be no live class sessions that day, but your calendar will show you what to be working on. All right, so I'm going to explain again how to do rectangular coordinates. So look at, can everybody see the whiteboard? Can you guys see the whiteboard okay? Okay, actually, let me just do this. That's easy. Okay, here's my crime scene. All right. Not that one. And I have a piece of evidence right here. It's a pool of blood. Okay, we're just going to pretend. All right. Let's see. We'll make it. Here we go. Pool of blood. Done. Okay. When I do a rectangular coordinate, what I'm going to do is this. All right. I'm going to take a line and draw it to this wall. And then I'm going to take another line and I'm going to draw it to this wall. And then I'm going to say this measurement is, I don't know, 6 feet. Okay, and I'm going to say this measurement is 3 feet. Okay, there's my first rectangular coordinate. And then let's say I have a knife over here. All right, that's my knife. And I need to do rectangular coordinates for this one. So I'm going to draw a line here. Oops, here. And I'm going to leave it attached to this wall. It's not going to come with me, but what's happening? Okay, that's really frustrating. Hold on. Oh. All right, I'm going to draw a line like this, but straighter. And I'm going to draw a second line to this wall. Hopefully your technology works better than mine does, okay? And for that one, I'm going to say this measurement is 10 feet, or however much you feel like it is. And this measurement is now 5 feet. Okay, does that make sense when it comes to rectangular coordinates? Do we understand rectangular coordinates a little bit better now? Anybody? Is that helpful at all? Testing, testing. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to stop the recording again. Okay. How many of you got your quiz done? Can you give me a green check if you got your quiz done? Oops, my mic was off. How many of you guys got your quiz done? Can you give me a green check if you got your quiz done? Green check if you completed your court quiz. Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So, oops, that's not what I meant to do. Oh, come on. There we go. All right. So if you are done with everything that you needed to do, you are officially dismissed, and you may go for the day. I'll see you guys later. Bye.